Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to TowerCoverage.com's online microtech and webinar here. This is the TowerCoverage.com Basics webinar, actually, if I use the right words. This webinar is going to encourage you to use Tower Coverage to understand how it operates, how to create things, things like that. What we do in this webinar is we're going to have a PowerPoint presentation that we're going to show you. We're going to go through the features and the product as such. At any given time, you can use the questions pane and type in a question. We do have several other staff members online right now that they can answer those questions, and if not, we're going to review all those questions, and even if we do answer them, we're going to review all the questions that were asked at the end of the webinar as well. So let's get started. So TowerCoverage.com. This again is our presentation and Q&A session. We will have one of these every month. I believe it's the last Thursday of each month. We will always have it there. That way we can get everybody trained up on how to use TowerCoverage.com. Alrighty, so we're going to cover today what is TowerCoverage.com. We're going to cover how does it work, and then of course we're going to answer any Q&A questions and answers that you may have. Again, use the questions pane and type in those questions because we really want to answer those. We really feel that the questions is a really big is a really big part of this webinar, and we like to answer those questions. So if you have questions, please ask. So what is TowerCoverage.com? Well, it is a radio frequency mapping application. It is designed to build coverage maps based on any RF system. You can build radio systems for common radio and antenna configurations. You can create link path analysis between 2 points. We take into account land clutter data and the terrain data. And we also have link groups to view your backhaul infrastructure. We also have a feature called website integration. This provides you an easy way to display your coverage or a sign-up form on your website. We make sure that this is not branded. This is we give you an iframe that's totally free to use. However, we also have API availability. So if you wish to have your own web developer use our API to display that information, you can do that as well. The sign-up form provides a simple method for users to self-pre-qualify. We call this end-user submissions, or as I will name it, EUS submissions. They're going to be viewable on your maps and basically make your website work for you. It's a very, very good feature. If you're not already using it, you should be using it. I have one customer that called us up and they said, hey, we have been getting between 8 to 20 website submissions a day. I mean, think about that. I mean, that's how much your website can actually work for you if you use the website integration. We also have the complete set of APIs. So we have a push API that sends the end user submissions to your billing platform, usually within 5 minutes. Usually it's a lot quicker than that, but it can be up to 5 minutes. But what happens is we actually sit there and you actually get this email. You'll actually get this email, and I'll show it to you here in a little bit, but you'll get an email, an EUS email, that shows you where they're at, shows you the 6 best tower sites. Now, we do not show you the 6 closest because we actually take into your beam width into account, your coverages into account, all that kind of good stuff. So they actually have to get signal for us to actually use it. But with the APIs, we also have APIs to push EUSs into our system, and then we have an API to push that out into your billing platform or any other system that you wish to program. So if you have your own billing management system and you have a platform that you can, maybe it's a CRM system that you can actually add new potential clients, there you go. You can actually push that data live into your system. So how do we use TowerCoverage.com? Well, the very basics is to log into your account. Here you go. You're into your account. This is the current version 2 of our product. We are working on version 3, which is our new beta site. It's definitely coming along, but it's not ready yet. But you're going to log into your site, into your dashboard, and on your dashboard, you're going to have the 10 most recent activities. So if you created a link, if you created the coverage, if you updated a multi-coverage, etc., you will have that right on your dashboard. You will also have a search field that you can search for any type of information. Now, we also have this My Account field. So I'm going to go up to this My Account field. Let me get my little pointer out here. So your My Account field up in the upper right corner, this gives you your basic management capabilities. This gives you your admin dashboard, it gives you your email address, your website, but it also gives you lots of good features. One of these is your LAN cover settings. This is one of the key things that every person, whenever you create a new account, needs to update. Inside this page, we have all of the different types of LAN cover that we have available to us. In some areas, you will need to adjust. Now, we have some static values that are typically really, really good. However, especially when we get to the evergreen, the deciduous forest, that type of stuff, and the mixed forest, as well as woodland, those are really big heights. So for an example here in Missouri, our trees go up to about 75 feet. That would be our evergreen broadleaf forest. Awesome, great stuff. However, if you go out to California, you might have 300-foot redwoods out there. So you really need to make sure that your adjustment in your LAN cover is done correctly. Next, you have your Users tab. This allows you to add and remove users, and you can actually add multiple admin users on our new beta site now. Before you could not, but otherwise you can add as many input and read-only users as you wish to. And an input basically means they can add data, but they cannot delete data, and read-only means exactly what it sounds like. We also have our Overlay Management tab. Here you can upload KML files. These are KML Google Earth files. You can upload them. They must be under 3 meg in size. That's a limit of Google API that we have. But you can basically upload any of your overlays, and then you can overlay your KMLs over on top of our coverage maps. You also have antenna pattern files. Many people have antenna pattern files. It's very important that you wish to use those. Now, I want to make sure I point this out, that we do not upload any or provide any antenna patterns unless they are directly from the manufacturer. So if you have an antenna pattern, you can upload it yourself and you can use it yourself, or you can have the manufacturer contact us at support@TowerCoverage.com and email us the files, and then we can put those online as default antenna patterns. Otherwise, you can go ahead and upload your own new antenna pattern. Now, what's really important here is our beam width filter. So let's say you have a 90-degree sector. What happens is we add 10 degrees to the max value for your end user submission. So if you have a tower, a sector that faces due north and it's 90 degrees, okay, that gives you about 45 degrees in the antenna beam pattern. We add 10 degrees onto that. So we add a margin of error, 10 degrees onto that. However, let's say a customer is way out off the side of that. So let's say they're at 90 degrees on that sector. Because of that, they will not be included in that sector's coverage, or inside that the end user submission will not be covered underneath this antenna pattern because the customer falls outside of the beam width filter. Okay, so even though that sector may be closer, they fall outside of that beam width filter, therefore that sector will not be used. And we've done that so that people don't see towers or sector antennas that may have a big side lobe or a big back lobe on it, and we don't want customers to see that they can actually get a customer, or we don't want a customer to see that they can get an end user by hitting off a back lobe. So we have that configured like that. So next we have our site. So this is going into how to use TowerCoverage.com. Now, the site is based on the GPS of your locations of your towers. You can also search via Google Maps, drop a pin. You can also specify the default height, and we also offer a bulk import via CSV file. That CSV file is on our sites page, on our new sites page. To get to the new sites, you're going to click New and then click Sites. Very, very simple. Inside our new sites page, we have your site information. We can enter the decimal value of the longitude, latitude, or latitude, longitude, or you can enter it as degree minutes seconds. It doesn't really matter. We're going to convert it automatically to the decimal value. We also have a description and group name if you wish to, and you also have your default height. Now we store everything in meters. However, you can type in feet and we'll go ahead and convert that for you. We also have a import template right here, as well as you can import sites from a CSV file if you need to. You can also click on the map here and move your site anywhere you want to. So you may do an address search, zoom in, find your tower, click on it, and then the latitude, longitude will be changed to that location. Next, we have our radio systems. These are used to create a common value across coverages. So let's just say you use Cambium 450s and you use the RF Elements antennas. I'm just throwing that as an example. If you have a common system that you use all the time, you would want to save that as a radio system. This allows you to default your values to keep your coverages consistent. It optimizes your radio antenna parameters, and it really speeds up the process for creating new coverages because you create a radio system. So to create a radio system, you're going to click New and then Radio System. Very, very basic, very simple. Inside here, you have to give it a name, and then you will specify the transmitter information. So you'll select what type of antenna you have, your azimuth, your tilt, gain, what frequency, TX power, and any line loss due to cables and connectors. You'll also specify the maximum values that you typically use for your receiving station. Now, what are those? So one of the big common questions we get is my coverage is not showing accurate signal levels. If you use a let's just use a SXT. If you use a 14 dB SXT, but then you add a reflector onto it, so now it's a 24 dB SXT because you actually have to take the antenna gain plus the reflector value. So now it's a 24 dB. You would typically add your antenna gain as 24 dB here. Average client height. In our area, we have lots of two-story buildings, so we usually add 20 feet. If you are in an area where you typically have single-story homes, you may want to be about 8 or 9 feet, maybe 10. And then any line loss, even though most of the line loss on our receiving stations are pretty much gone. We then have our RX threshold. Now this is the min signal, the minimum signal that you're going to see on your coverage map. If you put in -70, then a -71 will not show up at all. Now here's something that you can do. Remember I had that SXT, which is 14 dB, and I had a reflector that was 10 dB, giving me a total of 24 dB antenna gain. Well, I can set my strong signal margin to 10 dB. Now what that does is that's going to show me anything from a -70 to a -60 as a darker color, and then anything above a -60 as a lighter color. Now this actually gives me and my installers an ability to sit there and go, okay, well we can, if they're within the lighter color, then we don't need the reflector. Okay. However, if they're in the darker color, then they know we need the reflector. So that is another way of using the strong signal margin. However, many people just set this to 5 or 15 dB so that we can so that they can see where strong signals are, etc. You also have maximum range. This is in kilometers as well, and you can also view your land cover, or I'm sorry, you can use your land cover and use your 2 rays. You can also create a view shed here. This is typically done by increasing the density values of all of your land cover to basically the max value. So if you have a line of trees, they will cast a shadow of where you can cover. So based on this, based on our new radio system, now we can actually go into the core feature of tower coverage. This is based on a sector antenna on a tower per frequency. So if you use the frequency with frequency coordination, you can do that. You would typically need a coverage based on each sector, antenna, and frequency to give you accurate propagation. However, I have seen some customers use omnis because they have really good coverage out there. They may have 6 sectors. They just use one omni. That's not as accurate, but it could very well work. It may be close enough for your usages. You can, of course, upload your own antenna pattern files if you wish to. So to create a new coverage, you're going to click New and then Coverage. And then you're going to basically have the ability to select a radio system. Now, we do store all the values based on each coverage. So you can base the system off a radio system. However, you can then adjust each individual coverage as you wish to. You will also need to give it a new map name and select a tower site. Now, by default, if you select a radio system, type in a new map name, and select a tower site, then everything should be filled out for you. In other words, you can immediately hit update coverage and be good, because your default antenna height will be added and all of the parameters from your radio system will be automatically added. However, like I said, you can go in here and modify the receiving station values, your transmitter values, as well as your system performance values as you need to on a per coverage basis. I also want to point out that we also have antenna tilt. A positive value here is up tilt. A negative value, so negative 0.5 or negative 1, is down tilt. So just make sure of that as well. We also have the exact center frequency. What this is the exact center of a 20 megahertz channel that you can select. And this will show up in our frequency usage chart when we get to that. You also have the ability, again, since the radio system parameters are stored per coverage, you can adjust any of the system performance values as you wish to. So upon creating that, bam, now we have a coverage map. Nice and pretty. Well, in our area, this is nice and pretty. However, for many people, they're probably going, wow, this looks very fragmented. That's the type of terrain we have here. Now, notice up in the upper right corner, or I'm sorry, upper left corner, we also have this wonderful little feature here. We have a 271 square kilometers covered, 168 square miles, and we have a population number. And this is the amount of people that we are covering inside our coverage area. Now I'm going to show you where we get that data a little bit later in the webinar. However, that gives you the basis for your population, and that is based on your actual coverage, not the actual area. So if the block is partially covered, then it averages out. All right, now we're going to look at links. Now, RF links, so we hit New and hit Links. Of course, they're very important because we do create RF links. They typically should be within 1 to 2 dB of the actual system performance. So if you put up a wireless link and it is not correct, chances are you're on a side lobe or the antennas are not aligned correctly. So to create a radio link, you can use a radio system as well. You need to put in a link name, and then you need to select 2 sites. That is it if you use a radio system. However, if not, you'll have to go through all of the standard information, the transmitter site information, the receiving site information, and the system performance variables. All of that information by default can be pulled from your radio system. However, on a point-to-point link, you would have to create a point-to-point radio system typically for that. So once you create your new link, this should be an almost immediate return. It's going to give you a page very similar to this. It's going to give you a path profile here, giving you, notice that this link is through a hill and some trees there. It will give you the azimuth, so the bearing that you need to point your antenna, the tilt, so this is negative 0.53, and then notice on the other one at 0.45, so there's actually up tilt on the pin oak side. Again, you also have your bearing, and it gives you your RX sensitivity, the distance of your link, as well as the signal that should be expected. Again, that signal that should be expected should be within 1 to 2 dB of margin of error, typically underneath most things. We also have a print feature, so there's a print link button at the top. This gives you the ability to print the link. Now you can go into your My Accounts and actually upload your own logo, and then once you have your own logo updated, then whenever you hit print link, it'll actually come out with your own logo as well. We also have Google Earth Flyby. This is a tier 3 and higher accounts. This provides a KML to do a fly-through on Google Earth. And the reason why we did that is because Google Earth sometimes, not all times, can show you buildings and trees that may be in the path. In some cases that is valuable, in some cases it's not. In our area, we do not have tree data, so it doesn't really help us. However, in some other areas, it may help you quite a bit. So next we have our link groups. Now this is just a collection of links, very simple, but it's used to display on coverages on multi-maps very easily. So to create a new link group, you're going to hit New in Link Group, and then once you give it a name, you're going to specify a line color, and then you're going to select any of the links that you wish to have inside that link group. So once you get that, so here we go, we added a Wi-Fi network, we added line color blue, and we selected several links. We'll show you that here in a little bit. Next is our multi-map. This is really where the heart of the site comes in, because what this gives you is this gives you a map giving you multiple coverages. So it gives you your complete coverage. That's at least the goal of it. When you update your multi-map, you can also get that iframe code that you can put on your website to customize the form, to customize your website to give you those EUSs. Now also on your multi-maps, you can view link groups, you can view EUS submissions, where they're geographically located, etc. You can see frequency groups, you can see possible towers from the ASR database, as well as any of those overlays you used or that you uploaded. So to do that, we're going to hit New in Multi-Map, nice and easy. We're going to give it a new name, and then we have a couple options here. Do we wish to place pins on my sites? And that's exactly what it means. Whenever you select your coverages, it's going to place pins where those sites are. The EUS data collection form, that actually turns on the EUS data collection form. The EUS data collection form, which I'll go into in a little bit, it actually enables that feature on this map. And then make this map publicly viewable. That means we actually have a looking for service page. And because of that, if you make the map publicly viewable, we update that twice a day. And by you selecting that, next time that we run our update of our publicly viewable map, your map will be included along with a pin for your site, your business name, email address, phone number, that type of stuff. So here we go. We have our EUS submission, we have our multi-map here. Next, we can use our view EUS data. Now, this is the end user submission data. Actually, the very first one is our radar. So if you have storms in the area, you can actually click on there, and that actually pulls radar statistics, an overlay from the Weather Underground, actually. So you can get the local radar there. You also have the view EUS data. And what this is all the website submissions. So Wi-Fi Midwest is our local company, and they have had this many submissions. Now you can go in here and you can actually specify which ones you wish to have. So you can sit there and say, hey, I wish to, this is a installed customer, this is a customer that had signal that didn't get installed, and these are no-goes. These are customers that can't get service. Notice quite a few of these are out there. You can also view your link groups here. So here is our Wi-Fi link group giving us our links, etc. You can actually click on one of those links and actually get your path profile for you, the performance variables, your zenith, tilt, distance, and the performance of that link as well. You can also view overlays. So you can upload your overlays, and again, you can view those. There you go. There's the U.S. Counties. And that's a overlay that we have available to you. We also have our frequency usages. Now, frequency usage uses the direction of the sector, the beam width of the sector that you put in, and that's based on the antenna pattern, plus the maximum distance that you selected in the coverage. And what that gives you is that gives you your coverage overlay, your frequency usage. So each 20 megahertz channel will be a different color, and any overlap you will see. The big thing on this is so that you do not install a customer site or install a site that has a common frequency that would be covered by another multi-map. So that's the whole idea with that. And we also have a number of frequency usages there and bands. We have our ASR overlay. So ASR is antenna structure registration. What this is the FCC has the antenna structure registration. This is any tower basically over 200 foot inside the U.S. We download the entire ASR database every week and from the FCC. So we update all their information, and what that gives you is that gives you all of your antennas within your coverage area. And as you move the map, it'll reload, etc. But what's really nice is it will actually tell you the height of the structure as well as the registration number. And the registration number, by clicking that, will take you to the antenna structure registration website on the FCC's webpage, giving you the tower coordinates, the information, the address, all the contact information that you really need to have to contact that owner to see about them getting on or about you getting on their tower. We also have path analysis, and here is our instant path analysis. So you can click anywhere on that map, place a pin, okay? You can also type an address up at the top and search for an address and place the pin where you want, and then click path analysis. And what that gives you is that gives you a path analysis. It's the same thing as the EUS, so any EUS submissions, any EUSs, if it's outside the beam width or outside the beam width filter, etc., will not be included. But it'll give you the 6 best tower sites along with their path profiles, their recommendation of a good link, bad link, the distance. All that information is also given. Now, note that information is not stored. This is it's kind of a one-time deal that you did that. However, when we get to the EUS pages, we will show you how you can do that and store that data. Now, on our multi-map, we have this wonderful update button right here. Now, this allows you to change your multi-map, but it also gives you our iframe code right there that you can take that code, cut it out, and paste it inside inside your HTML code for your website, and you would get something very similar to this. You would get a map by default, okay? Now, that's if you wish to show your coverage. And I know a lot of people are very sensitive about showing their coverage. So you can actually check the end user submission data collection form, and then they'll actually get a form. Please enter your name, address, phone number, best time to contact you. We then geolocate that and then submit that to the EUS system, okay? So this is the iframe with the EUS off. Now, let's say we wish to turn on the iframe, and we have pasted this one link, this one piece of code right here. We have pasted this iframe code into our website, except our EUS data collection form is not on. This is what we're going to get. We go to our website, to TowerCoverage.com, and we check on and update our multi-map. Immediately, that page is going to change to this. This is our online EUS form data. This is the basic stuff. It is totally free to use the EUS feature. It's included with all the accounts, but basically the customer will fill out the information. We will then take their city address, phone number, etc., and geolocate that to the service address. Now, geolocation is not perfect. In some areas it's close, some areas it's not. So in our case, this is where it geolocated, but that's the actual service address right up there. So we give the customer the option to move this pin to the exact location where you wish to have service. So the customer, or your potential customer, can move the pin to the correct location. Now we actually have a GPS location that we can actually do our path analysis to. So the EUS data gives us that ability to do that. Now, inside our EUS data, we can do a new searchable interface to search for no-goes near a new tower, so you can sit there and do that. You can reprocess on any multi-map. You can update records and make notes. But you also have the EUS settings in your My Account tab. And let's look at this. So this is the EUS settings in My Account. This is really important because we can actually say, where do we wish to land our customer? So let's say the customer filled out the form, and then they click the mouse and move the pin and hit submit. Now they've submitted their EUS. Now we can display a coverage map zoomed in on where they're at. So now you can actually see, if you're in the green area, you may have coverage. But we can also give them a message, so we can actually display a message there. Or we can actually change to redirect to a client particular page, etc. We also have the availability for you to change the movable pin text. So maybe you wish to have it in a different language, or you wish to have it in another verbiage. You can do that. And you can specify your EUS email field right here as well. You also have the ability to change the text that is displayed to end users when they visit your iframe. So you can specify that right here. You can specify title, name, address. Maybe you don't have a country. Maybe you maybe it's called a province instead of a state, etc. And you can change that right here. This is our EUS API. This is the push API. So what happens is we actually take your billing system, if you have a billing system, and we can actually push to your billing system. So you need an API key from them and a username and password from them that we will transmit to ensure that it's done securely. We only use valid SSLs. So if you put an SSL page in this, then it must be a valid SSL. If you do not put an SSL page in it, then it does not have to be a valid SSL, but it does need to be a valid SSL. We also have several other pages, types of EUSs, push APIs. We also have another other field in which you can specify the URL. And all that EUS push information is documented in our API documentation. So you can build your own system as you wish to. I also want to go back here on our iframe code right here. If your website is HTTPS, then you can put HTTPS sites.TowerCoverage.com in this. It's definitely not a problem. Our site can run secure or non-secure. It doesn't matter. But that way they don't get, you know, there's data that is secure, data that is not secure on a secure page. The EUS push details, this gives us details on where we pushed it, was it a success, was it a failure, etc., what the ID was. If you use Google Analytics on your website, you can enter your Google Analytics ID here, and that will show up on your Google Analytics that they actually processed an end user submission. Next, we have our EUS data. So this is our EUS data. You can say most recent, new, serviceable, no service, installed, or all data. You can also create EUS searches. So you can say, I wish to have a site. I want to be 20 miles or let's say 7 miles from a site. You could specify that and create a search and save that search to reference later on. On tier 3, you can download your CSV, so you can download all the data and delete it if you don't wish to have it or us to have it. It's totally up to you on that as well. So once you go in here, you can click on one of these and then you get this page here, which shows you your end user submission. You can add comments, you can edit and reprocess, you can resend the EUS push through the API. That also sends the email as well. All that information can be put in there as you need to. Now, some new features with our new beta site. That's kind of important. We also have the ability in the new site to do reverse path lookups. Now, what does this mean? One, let's say you had 200 clients. Let's say you did a search for any clients that were no-goes from a new tower that you just put up from 7 miles out. And let's say there was 150 clients that showed up in that search. You can actually sit there and reprocess them based on a new map. Or let's say you have a cluster of no-goes from that site, and now you're looking for a tower or where to place a tower. So you can find a new tower location by the FCC ASR database, so existing towers, or you can say build a new tower. Here is the no-goes test. So anything in red shows almost 100% if you put a tower based there, based on your parameters, based on your tower height, all that kind of good stuff. It will tell you where you can put the tower and give you a heat map of how many clients is in that area, or how many clients can be reached based on the EUS search. Next, we have the FCC Form 477 data. This is our FCC Form 77 orders. So you can create a new order. And inside here, we actually have a Google Earth KML and shapefile. We also have the fixed broadband deployment data and the fixed broadband subscription data. The broadband deployment data is actually where you cover. It's very, very important. This is used to determine CAF eligibility. So if you are inside the U.S. and you are using tower coverage, every WISP, if you offer services, needs to fill out Form 477 twice a year. It is a federal requirement that you do this. They are looking for people now, okay? They are looking for people who filed one time or maybe haven't filed at all and forgot to file this year. Now they're going after them. So big fines can be issued by the FCC if you did not fill out your Form 477. We do have discounts for bulk purchases. Please contact us for that. We give you a polygon shapefile, GeoJSON. We give you the big thing, which is all the census blocks inside your coverage area or a portion of. The FCC defines what you should be delivering in the broadband deployment data, and this is any census blocks that you can provide service in a reasonable amount of time. So typically, you will take a multi-map and say, this is my current deployment area. I can deploy reasonable amounts of service inside that block within a reasonable amount of time. Very, very simple. And the problem is that for a small company, Wi-Fi Midwest, which you see in their coverage, they got like 43,000 census blocks. There are 22.8 million census blocks inside the U.S. So you have to be really careful with that. Typically, this is done within 4 hours, and you should get an email that you can log back in, view your order, and download your files. We do full Form 77 commissions. You'll have to contact us through our services, but if you need a FRN number, you need anything like that, and you need us to upload and get that information, please give us a call. We can help you with that. That time is done on a time basis, but we also do that. The broadband subscription data. This is actually a census tract of each subscriber, and there's about 22,000 census tracts inside the U.S., so they're much larger areas. Most billing systems, this is actually where your billing system should do this for you. However, you need to make sure that your subscription data is accurate as well. And we can help you with that if you have a list of customer names and addresses. We actually don't need the names. We just need their locations. We have forms that you can fill out that we can help you with that, and we can submit this all to you. A billing system, I'm not going to name names, on a WISP that we were using, they had almost 5,000 blocks outside of their broadband subscription data that they missed. So $26 million was awarded to a competitor because they didn't accurately report their coverage. So it's very, very important that you have that. So with that said, we took up about 40 minutes of your time. I hope everybody has had plenty of time to get all the information. Wiki.TowerCoverage.com gives you all of the API documentation, all of the documentation on the website, and all of the how-tos. So definitely visit that. Of course, if you have questions, email us at support@TowerCoverage.com. We also have a phone line, 314-735-0270, option 3. Give us a call. That line is open between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. So with that said, I am going to open up the floor to any questions, queries, posers, or other informational tidbits that you guys have. If you have those, please type them into the questions pane at this time. We are taking those questions. We wish to, we really feel that this is a really good portion of the webinar to get those questions and answers to everybody. So we really hope that everybody has those questions. But otherwise, all of my data, all of the presentation portion of this webinar is complete. We will wait a couple more minutes to see if we get any questions. Alrighty, I'm going to give one last call for any questions, queries, posers, or other informational tidbits that I can give everybody. Again, if you have a question, just go ahead and type something in and just hit enter so that you can then finish typing your question. We just want to make sure that you have those. You can also go into the chat window and select to, and I believe you can say send questions to staff. I believe that's an option. You can type your questions in your chat pane as well. All right, we do have somebody that says he has a few questions, so we're going to give him a couple more minutes here to type those questions in. So the question I have is, can you show how to enter a new sectoral antenna type in the terms of pattern? My assumption is that you need to upload an antenna file based on your platform that you're using. To do that, you're going to go to let me get back to it here. Kind of at the beginning of the webinar here. So you're going to go to your My Account, and in My Account, you're going to specify antenna overlays, or antenna patterns, I should rephrase that. And then you can hit New Antenna Pattern here, right here. And then you will choose your file, give it your antenna name, add your beam width, add a manufacturer name if you wish to, and attempt to upload your antenna file. Once that antenna file is uploaded, it should appear as user-defined antenna patterns underneath your antennas to create your coverage. I hope that answered your question. The antenna, if you upload your antenna pattern, the question is, would my antenna be visible to other TowerCoverage.com users? No, it would not. Anything that is uploaded individually is not available to any other user. They would have to upload their own, or I mean, they can upload the same file as far as we really care, but they would have to upload their own if it's a different account. And the question is, I don't mind sharing the antenna pattern. The problem is the antenna pattern has not been verified, so we cannot assume that it is correct. We have to have it from the antenna manufacturers to be able to add it to our site. In the story, that's just the way we have decided to get that taken care of. However, you can upload it and you can use it however you wish to. All righty. I have one other person that said that they had a question, but I don't see anything. I'll make one last call here for that question. Otherwise, we are going to probably call this webinar to a close. I believe we got everything answered. Of course, like I said, everybody, you can go to wiki.towercoverage.com or email us at support@towercoverage.com or give us a call. You can give us a call and talk to somebody between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. Please give us a call if you have any questions. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your time and your attention, and we will get off this webinar. Thank you very much. Oh, actually, we got, holy cow, no wonder it took you so long to type that in. We actually finally got that question. Let me read this. It's a book. So the question is that they are a VHF low band and UHF links provider. Will tower coverage work for this? Of course it will. Yeah, I mean, we have a number of options for our frequency bands under coverages. You can specify many different frequency bands. Let me pull up our website here. Let me switch to that real quick. So inside our bands, we have 600 megahertz, 700, 800, 900. If there's not a band in here that you need, let us know. I understand different bands have different propagation characteristics, but especially on the low band side, we can definitely do that. Gotcha. Yeah, and you can go. We can go down to. I mean, there's 27 megahertz. So VHF is in 30 to 50, and yes, we can do that. That's definitely not a problem. The only difference is the power of the transmitter, and the again, you probably want to upload your own antenna patterns as well. Because obviously we do not have a whole lot of 30 megahertz antenna patterns, but you can upload your own antenna patterns, and then you can go from there, or you can build your own. There is a antenna pattern generator there. If you go to my account, hit my account, not contact us. If you hit my account and go to your antenna patterns, new, and then you can download this document. This gives you a document, an Excel spreadsheet to create your antenna patterns for. So you can create your antenna patterns. Once your antenna patterns are created, then you can go ahead and build your coverages just like everything else you need to. Alrighty, with that said, please give us a call if you have any questions. Otherwise, thank you very much.